In nature, there are animals that just by appearing are enough to make everything around them wary. With giant strength and a strong survival instinct, bears are always considered one of the formidable forces of the wild forest. But even those seemingly untouchable creatures are not always at peace. What will happen when brown bears and sloth bears are forced to face the predators at the top of the food chain? Let's explore. Tiger versus sloth bear. The tiger is an ambush master. On the hillside, it silently stalks the sloth bear. The ambush skill of this feline is so supreme that when it was right behind its back, the bear still did not notice. The tiger patiently stalks the target. The situation unexpectedly changes when the bear startles and turns around, suddenly standing upright on its two hind legs to show off its massive stature, aiming to threaten the enemy. This fierce defense makes the tiger falter and keep its distance. The sloth bear is the most ferocious species in the bear family, and it is not afraid of anyone. Sometimes, the symbol of strength also has its own fears. Bear versus wolf. Amidst the grassland, the mother brown bear is peaceful with her cubs. The mother bear possesses an extremely fierce, protective instinct because the bear cubs completely depend on them in their early years of life to survive. The silence shatters when a wolf approaches. The wolf is a strategic predator, but facing a mother bear weighing hundreds of kilos is a risky gamble. The mother bear immediately becomes a living wall, just by the action of standing up. She has asserted an absolute inviolable boundary. In the wilderness, a minor injury can also lead to death due to the inability to hunt. Clearly understanding the physical disparity, the wolf wisely chooses to retreat. That predator is also just carrying the burden of finding food for its family. The harsh wilderness does not have villains. Everything is just an endless battle for survival to protect the future generation. In the harsh winter, a prey carcass is a priceless treasure. The brown bear must alone protect its prize against the siege of the hungry wolf pack. The wolves coordinate to distract the solitary one attracting attention while another stealthily approaches from behind. But the brown bear possesses a keen sense of smell and incredible reflexes to protect its life source. When patience runs out and the numbers gradually overwhelm, the bear has to abandon the prize to keep its life safe. The massive brown bear slowly advances through the swamp. Here, a wolverine is tearing at a reindeer carcass. The appearance of the brown bear forces the wolverine to yield, but when it begins to eat, another army arrives. The brown bear recognizes the threat. A crowded wolf pack is narrowing the distance, moving highly tactically. Confusion is clearly visible on the face of the solitary warrior. No matter how strong, facing a pack is always a wrong move. Noticing the situation worsening, the bear strongly jerks the piece of meat, quickly takes its portion, and runs away. An overwhelming victory for those who seize the prey by numbers. Survival power lies not only in fangs and claws, but also in cold calculation. Amidst the white snow forest, a brown bear is fleeing the fierce pursuit of a wolf pack. Being tailed closely, the bear is forced to stop, switching to a defensive state while the wolf pack establishes an encirclement. When the bear tries to continue running, the dog pack immediately tightens their formation, chasing close on its heels, instead of a frontal attack. The dog pack barks continuously, moving around and targeting the target's hind legs. This is a classic stamina-draining tactic in nature. The tactical overwhelm forces it to sit down in the snow. This is a defensive posture, aiming to protect its flanks against the opponent's lightning-fast lunges. The continuous harassment tactic of the dog pack gradually wears down the bear's stamina. It manages to defend from all directions, but eventually, that fragile life cannot hold out. Bear versus bear. In the quiet forest, two giants clash. Brown bears have highly territorial habits, so their appearance will immediately ignite a war, competing for dominance. They stand upright on their two hind legs to show off their overwhelming physique. Strength erupts when one throws the opponent down. Despite having bone-crushing bite force, the loose skin and thick fur around the neck have acted as natural armor, helping them endure the bites without being fatally injured. This is actually not a life-and-death battle, but a cruel test of endurance and authority. When the hierarchy is clear, the loser gradually steps back and hides behind a tree trunk as a sign of surrender. Sometimes, fighting in nature does not necessarily have to shed blood to achieve the goal. Do you know a giant feast is sometimes the origin of cruel battles? Along the coast, a washed-up whale carcass attracts brown bears, thanks to a keen sense of smell. They detect the carcass from tens of kilometers away. This amount of fat is a priceless source of survival energy. However, brown bears inherently live independently. When sharing food together, the hierarchical order is immediately challenged. Conflict erupts between two adult males. They stand upright on their two hind legs, showing off their height and using body weight to push the opponent down to the water's edge. Psychological pressure has decided the winner and loser. One individual accepts yielding and leaves, leaving the survival privilege for the ruler. Bear versus elk. On the gentle hill slope covered with low bushes, a massive brown bear is slowly moving. Its presence does not escape the sight of the elk herd standing on the crest of the slope. They maintain a highly vigilant posture. As the bear descends into the valley, the elk herd begins to retreat. Although primarily eating plants, the brown bear is still a formidable predator.
There he goes again.
Bears always prioritize targeting weak young individuals to load a massive amount of calories with the least risk. The silence disappears when the bear unexpectedly charges down the slope. Despite a body weighing hundreds of kilograms, they can sprint at speeds up to 50 kilometers per hour.
Oh, wow.
The deer herd panics and flees. The defensive formation completely shatters before this terrifying pressure.
Oh, there he is. He's right here. See that?
So far.
So he's hiding now. Look at him.
Deceptively lumbering grizzly can reach a top speed of 30.
The predator shortens the distance with explosive power and quickly wrestles down a young elk. Bear versus caribou. On the vast wildland, a brown bear is dashing with incredible speed.
Bear.
Brown bears are excellent swimmers.
Stop, didn't it? Look at that.
Ahead, a reindeer is struggling to swim across the river, hoping the freezing water current will act as a barrier to stop the enemy's steps. But nature always harbors cruel truth. The thick fat layer helps them retain heat, while the strong front legs create massive thrust underwater.
I think it's hurt.
The pursuit continues desperately as the distance is irreversibly narrowed.
You have more stamina than a bear, don't you?
Right in the middle of the river, the reindeer's stamina is exhausted before the overwhelming power.
Right where that. Getting in on.
The brown bear utilizes its massive body weight and lightning-fast controlling skills to extinguish all resistance. In the water environment, the prey completely loses its movement advantage. The hunt consumes a giant amount of energy, but this nutritional reward is the key to survival through the harshest conditions. At the freezing water's edge, the brown bear faces the reindeer. The reindeer abruptly swings its antlers to counterattack, forcing the brown bear to engage in battle. The impact impulse makes the mud splash, completely tearing apart the silence of the riverbank. Thanks to its massive stature, the bear crushes the trachea, knocking down the target. The water current immediately restores its initial silence. The cycle of life and death closes in a flash. In the harsh wilderness, physical strength is exactly the boundary dictating the right to survive. What you have just watched shows that in the wild world, strength alone is still not enough to ensure absolute safety. Even bear species with overwhelming physiques must continuously adapt and react to challenges from the surrounding environment. If you find this video interesting, hit like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to continue exploring many other surprising wild encounters.
Like it's hurt.
Thank you for watching until the end. See you again in the next journey of the natural world.